Hello, welcome back to my channel and welcome to another reading vlog where I'm gonna be reading Tiamat's Wrath. So Tiamat's Wrath is book 8 in the Expanse series, which is a science fiction series, and I will link the videos for the 7 previous books in the description if you want to check those out, or a playlist up there. I think it's that side. And I absolutely love this series. Like, I am obsessed with it. I love the characters so much. And so in this video I'm gonna be reading, like I said, book 8, but also the novella that comes after this that I think is called The Last Flight of the Cassandra. And I just want to say that there are definitely spoilers in this reading vlog, especially for like the main book. And let's get into it. Okay, so I got to page 180, which is around the third in, and literally the first sentence of this book is Vasarali is dead, or something along those lines. Which, great way to start the book, and with great, I mean terrible and sad. So honestly, like, that is the vibe for the whole book so far, just sad. But yeah, Vasarali is dead because, I mean, she was already not very young when the series started, and then like 30 years went by before the previous book, and then now a few more years have gone by, like between the last book and this one. So yeah, she died, and Holden actually meets her granddaughter, and when there's like a sort of funeral for her, because it's in Laconia, because yes, he is still a prisoner in Laconia, and he's not, imprisoned as in like in a cell, but he is very much a prisoner. Like, he can kind of walk around the place, but there are always guards looking at him and making sure he doesn't do anything that the guy in charge wouldn't like. So he's just like being paraded around the place, basically, like showing that he's under control, So yeah, there's that. And also Amos, he went on a mission for the underground, like I think they said months ago, and he disappeared. And Naomi like reunites very briefly with Alex and Bobby, and first of all, like, their reunion is so cute. Like, it was adorable, honestly. But at the same time, like, they kind of argued, like Naomi and Bobby, because they have very different views on what they should do. Because Bobby, like, she wants to fight, like physically fight, and Naomi, who has been kind of like fighting her whole life, she wants to like kind of negotiate with the Laconians. But like, I get that, but also I don't think the Laconians are the kind of people you can negotiate with, because they just, they just started killing people and decided to take over everything and everyone. So they don't really seem like the negotiating type. And then there is a scientist called Elvie who is like studying the protomolecule, and I think it's her husband. Yeah, her husband is telling her that they have a theory. And he says, this thing comes in contact with a protomolecule infected mind. It makes a copy of that mind. Then these gate signatures start showing up all over the object. Traven starts talking about how secure data storage works. You take the physical imprint, that's the encoded data, and you scatter it. You put it in a bunch of discrete storage locations with tags and codes built in, so that if any portion of the storage system is lost, the rest of it knows how to rebuild the lost portion from the scattered fragments. We know that the protomolecule builders seem to have had a hive mind, or one brain, however you want to parse that. Instantaneous non-localized communication across all the various nodes and entities, all across their corner of the galaxy. But shit happens, even to them. Asteroids hit planets, or earthquakes, or volcanoes, or whatever. Anything that's stored in a single node is lost forever when that node is destroyed. So what if what we're looking at is the backup drive for their entire civilization? Everything that they ever knew packed into a carbon lattice the size of Jupiter. Like, that is very interesting. And like, I kind of hope that's the case because that sounds really, really cool. And also, Elvie and her husband and like their team, they kind of forcefully get involved in a mission of, I mean, they're like working for the Laconians, like in their study of the protomolecule, and they get involved in kind of like threatening whatever killed the creators of the protomolecule. And let's just say that like they fought back, like they sent a threat back basically, and they're all in danger now. So great, that was so great. What a great idea, great plan. Like Elvie hated it, which, you know, obviously like she has a brain, and yeah, terrible idea. Also, a bad idea. I mean, it wasn't really a bad idea, but it went badly. And that was the mission that Alex and Bobby were going on. And yeah, it goes very badly. And Alex is feeling like very discouraged. And he's talking to Bobby and he's telling her, I think we have a resistance right now because we have a lot of old guys who grew up resisting an enemy too strong to ever beat, aka the Belters. They've been inoculated against fear of failure, but when they're gone, I think we're done, as a movement, as a force in history, because we're not going to convince anyone born after the Transport Union was formed to fight an unwinnable fight. And Bobby asks, unwinnable fight? And says, well, isn't it? And like, I'm guessing it's not, because the good guys usually win in fiction, at least. So like, I'm hoping it's not, but it does seem like an unwinnable fight. And after they have this conversation, Bobby actually finds like a bunch of antimatter that's like in the things that they took from the Laconians in that mission that like it went wrong, but they managed to take some things. Like she finds a bunch of antimatter and she wants to use it to fight against the Laconians. And Alex doesn't think she should. And also, like she, after they have that conversation, she says, if you really believe we can't win, you should think about whether you're coming with me if I go. Like, that broke my heart. I mean, this whole book is breaking my heart, but that hurt. And that was actually the last sentence I read. But another thing that is happening is we're following a girl called Teresa, and she is the daughter of the leader of the Laconians. And like we're following her as she, you know, goes throughout her day. And she has found a guy like in the wilderness of Laconia, I guess, who's called Timothy. And I might be crazy, but I think Timothy is Amos, because I think it was Naomi who said that like he went missing in Laconia, and like she assumes that he is probably dead, but I think that's him. Like, I hope that's him. And yeah, that is where I'm at. And like, I'm loving it. I'm very invested. But at the same time, like, I am suffering. This book is making me so sad because everything is going wrong. All the characters are miserable. They're all like scattered, apart, and sad. And yeah, it's definitely like making me so sad. But like, as a book, it's so good. I am loving it. I am invested in like both of the plots, like the fight against the Laconians and also the whole proto-molecule thing that is developing more. I'm very interested in both of those plot lines. And it might be a bit too early to say this, but it's already kind of giving me the 5-star feeling, which I love. So yeah, I'm gonna read another third and I'll get back to you. I am 2/3 into the book, page 350, and I think in my last update, the whatever creatures killed the creators of the protomolecule, like they had fought back, they had attacked our humans, and a lot of people, like after that attack, they were like injured, some were killed, and two of the gates, two of the rings, like disappeared. And one of them led to like a world full of people, so that sucks. And also, the leader of Laconia was very affected because he had had some experiments done on him with the protomolecule to like become immortal basically, and so he was more connected to it, and he was like much more affected than everyone else. Like he's alive, but he's kind of like just a shell. He doesn't really react to things, not much. He doesn't speak, he doesn't do anything. Like he's just existing there. So there's that, and that is very concerning for the Laconians because they don't have their leader anymore, but they don't want to let anyone know, even like the people of Laconia, because they want to keep them thinking that, you know, they're strong and they can keep ruling the universe. And while that whole thing is happening, after that whole thing happens, Teresa is talking to Timothy and she's like ranting to him about everything that's happening and about the fact that they just told her to pretend like nothing is wrong, like your father is completely fine because no one can know what is happening, and she obviously doesn't like that, and so she's ranting to him. And then people from like some of the sort of like now leaders get there and they shoot Timothy, who was in fact Amos, and they take Teresa. And I'm not believing Amos is dead. Like, I don't believe they would do that to me. And I especially don't believe it because his body disappeared. No one can find his body, so I'm just assuming he is still alive, and I'm hoping he is still alive. And Naomi is, like, she's in Oberon, and she gets a message from Bobby because circumstances have changed. And Alex told her that, like, if she tells Naomi about her plan and she basically is, like, okay with that and kind of wants it to happen, that Alex will participate in that plan and, like, help Bobby with everything. So Bobby sends a message to Naomi, and Naomi replies saying that she does agree. And so one thing I forgot, Holden is pretty sure that the guy that is now pretty much ruling Laconia, he wants to kill Teresa. That's yeah. And moving on to Bobby's plan, like, she and the others, like, they get on it, and they do succeed in damaging the ship that they wanted to damage and do like what they wanted to do. Like, they succeed, but Bobby dies, which I did not see coming, and I'm sad. I am so sad. And I would have been sadder if one of the like core four had died, so like Holden or Naomi or Alex or Amos. Yes, I'm not believing that Amos is dead, but I still really liked Bobby, and I'm definitely very sad that she's dead, and that is pretty much where I'm at. And I'm still really loving this book, and obviously still very sad with it, and I'm very stressed about everything that is happening. And once again, like, I'm very invested in both of the plot lines, like the whole Laconia situation, and I would say especially the like protomolecule and those beings that killed their creators. That is definitely like the thing I'm most excited about, but I'm excited about the whole thing. And yeah, I'm feeling all the feelings with this book, which is great because it means I'm loving it, but also I'm just suffering so much with it. But yeah, I'm gonna finish it and I'll be back. Okay, so I have finished the book, and in this last third, Alex goes back to the place where they have hidden their ship, like the one that they have been in since, not the beginning of like the first book, but every time else. And yeah, he goes back there and he leaves a message for Naomi, and he's there like fixing the ship because it had been stopped for years. And then Naomi joins him, and that was obviously adorable. And they are finishing getting the ship ready, and then they like lose time, which has happened before. They just feel like they're falling, they're like in a void, they're in nowhere, and when they get back to normal, like they have lost time. In this case, I think it was 20 minutes, and that was felt like all over the universe basically. And the ships that were close to the ring gates, they disappeared. And then in Laconia, they're like talking about it, and Elvie is like trying to find an explanation for that phenomenon, and she says, the older civilization appears to have developed its consciousness in a form that relied more on energetic fields and maybe structures in observable matter than the stuff we made a brain from. There's also some implication that quantum effects have something to do with our being aware. If that's true for us, it was probably true for them. So the scenario that James Holden brought back from the alien station in the ring space was of something systematically destroying the consciousness of the older civilization, killing it. The previous civilization tried getting rid of the systems, inducing supernovas. That didn't help. They eventually closed all the gates, and that didn't fix the problem either, because whatever it was killed them anyway. And that's where we came in. We found, and I have directly observed, things that we call bullets or scars or persistent non-local field effects. Basically a place where whatever hates the ring gates has done something to collapse consciousness on a planet or in a system, or in all the systems at once, which was basically what happened this time. What I suspect, and I don't have any data for this, is that the enemy figured out how to snuff out all the systems at once, whether the gates were active or not. I believe that our travel through the gates is irritating to these beings, maybe even damaging in some way. When that damage gets high enough, they react. Only it turns out we aren't the same kind of conscious system as the gate makers. We don't break as easy, and we recover better. What slaughtered their civilization just lost us a few minutes of time. I believe that the enemy, whatever it is experimenting with new ways to break conscious system. Brains. Which means that they may find a way to kill humans. And after that whole thing happens, Naomi and Alex get a crew on their ship, and they head to Laconia. And they cross the ring gate, they get into the Laconian system, and they are heading to Laconia. And obviously the people in Laconia, like, they are kind of in charge now. They see that they have enemies approaching, and they want to make it seem as if their leader like is making an sort of announcement, because it would be weird for him not to. So they want to find a way to like manipulate video and pretend that he's actually talking. And they're, getting ready to do that. They have the leader guy there, and a bunch of people are there. And while they're setting that up, something crazy happens. So Duarte is the leader guy that is just not functioning right now. And he says, Duarte stepped over to stand before Cortazar. Cortazar is the one that is like kind of in charge now, and the one that wants to kill Teresa. His attention seemed as focused as Elvie had seen since his fall. Cortazar smiled and bowed his head like it was something he knew he was supposed to do. Duarte's jaw dropped, his mouth opening and closing, but the only sound he made was a small "oh." He moved his hand in a soft gesture, like he was fanning away smoke, and Cortazar's chest bloomed out the back. It was so slow, so gentle, that Elvie couldn't understand what she was seeing, not at first. It was as if Cortazar was an image projected on mist, and the mist was being blown away. Nothingness swirled through his chest, his face, and behind him, floating on the air, spirals of red and pink, gray and white, as ornate and beautiful as ink dropped into water, the air filled with the smell of iron, of blood. Cortazar sat on the floor, his legs folding under him, and then slumped to the side with a long, wet exhalation. The left half of his head was missing from the jaw to the crown. His heart was still trying to beat in the open theater of his ribs, but the man was gone. So that happened, and honestly, that was really cool. Firstly, because, like, the imagery, really cool, but also because I fucking hated Cortazar, so really glad that he's gone. And after that, like, Teresa is trying to escape because she doesn't feel safe there, obviously, and she frees Holden because she's gonna use Holden as, like, her way out, because she knows that the people that are coming are like Holden's people. So yeah, she frees him and they're running, but like they are discovered, and they're gonna, like, people are gonna take them back to the, I think they call it state building. not entirely sure. And then Amos appears and he saves them. But Amos is different because, I mean, he technically did die, but he came back. And they say that his eyes are like black. And the Laconian people, like, they had 2 kids there that had died, and they had like experimented on them, and they were like alive, but not really. They didn't think they were like them anymore, but they also had black eyes. So I'm guessing whatever happened to them happened to Amos. Not entirely sure that's a good thing. Like, I'm happy he's here if it really is him, but also concerning. But yeah, like, Naomi and Alex and their crew, they get the message that they need, like, Holden and Amos need to be helped out of the planet, and so they go down and they all reunite, which was really, really cute. And they take Teresa as well, and they leave. And that is pretty much how it ended. The only other thing is that Elvie, like, she stayed in Laconia to study the protomolecule, and yeah, that is pretty much how it ended. And let's go into my final thoughts. So starting off with the characters, like I usually do, I say this in every video for this series, I love the characters, but like, I really, really do. Like, the main 4 characters, I absolutely love them. And it was really sad that in this book they were all so sad, all suffering, all kind of like scattered throughout the universe. And it was also sad that both Vassarala and Bobby are dead. Especially, I mean, I like the Vassarala more, but like, Bobby's death, the way she died was way more impactful. But I also got really happy in the end that they all got reunited and they're like all together now, and I'm really happy that it ended that way. And in terms of the new characters, Elvie, like, I do like her. I don't like love her, like, I wouldn't be devastated if she died or something, but I like her. And Teresa, I have mixed feelings about her. Like, mostly I like her, but there are some things that she does and that she says that I don't particularly love, but like, overall I do like her, and as a character I think she's a great character. And I already said as well that I was invested in like both plots that were happening in this book, and I'm also very excited for the next book to see where all of that goes. And I wasn't bored for a single second reading this book. I was honestly always stressed, which is good, but also, you know, very anxiety inducing. But I mean, I was really, really invested throughout the whole book, and I loved it. And honestly, like, I have no complaints, so I am giving it 5 stars. And then the novella, which is called The Last Flight of the Cassandra, like, on Goodreads it says that it's book, I think 8.1 actually, which I thought was weird because there is no 8.5, there's just 8.1 and 9. But yeah, and like, I guess in publication order it is after 8, but the actual story is set during the like first book of the series. And basically we're following the crew of the Cassandra, and they find something like weird, and we just see how their choices, you know, affect their life, their future. And my ebook was literally like 14 pages long, so like, that's literally all that happened. And like, it was okay, it was, you know, enjoyable to read, but also it wasn't anything crazy because, again, it was 14 pages. Like, how crazy can 14 pages be? I mean like, it could, but it wasn't. Like, it was okay, I enjoyed it, but I didn't love it, you know? So I'm giving that one 3 stars. And yeah, that is everything for this video. I am so excited to go into the next and last book. Like, I'm excited because I want to see like where everything goes, but also I'm sad because I don't want this series to end because I love it so much. But yeah, mostly I'm excited. And yeah, that is everything for this video. So thank you so much for watching. I really hope that you have enjoyed it. And if you did, give it a like and subscribe, and I will talk to you next time. Bye!